seriously this time, or?
I'm getting a bunch of stuff done medically, and then I'm gonna look at it for doing something else. I'm getting a bunch of stuff. I have to take it easy a little bit.
Oh, fine.
You good?
No, nothing.
All right, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Baldwin Town Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order at 7:30 p.m. And we'll do roll call.
Okay, David Neiman.
Scott Davidson,
Steve. Steve Spassky. Sorry, Steve. Joe Lumber.
Jim McBride.
And Juliet Hodge. All right, we're five, so we don't need to speak alternate. Or you're an alternate, right? You're not. You want how many, do you need 5?
We got a phone call.
So we're good. I'm done myself. And did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? Out, Sue? And wasn't January 14th. In 17 minutes.
I know how much we can go approve, but. I'll say that.
We have a motion in a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? Any additions to the agenda? No?
Any additions? No.
Hi. And happy year. Yeah. Oh.
Hi, and Mike. Thank you.
Any citizens comments? I think you're on the agenda.
I'm on the agenda. Release.
No old business, new business, Connecticut General Statute, just 24 referral, Old Econ Hill Road. John?
So, sure. So for the record, John Guskowski, town planner. We were approached by Mr. Arsenault, who owns properties on either side, I should say on both sides of basically a paper street called Old Econ Hill Road, which extends, as you might imagine, off of Route 49, just south of Nature's Campsites and sort of south of the state forest entrance. And it is, an old relic of a road that used to be Econ Hill Road. When the state improved Route 49, it was essentially abandoned, but was never formally discontinued. So the town retains ownership of it. Mr. Arsenault, who I believe is with you this evening, can explain a little bit more. But the idea is he has asked the town to formally discontinue the road, which requires an act of town meeting. And basically, the town forfeits the ownership and rights to it, and the right of way, which is more or less 50 feet, would be ceded or merged with properties on either side. And so accordingly, because this requires a town meeting and it involves the possession of town property, town ownership, it requires what's called an 824 referral, which is section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which mandates that any such decision regarding municipal property or municipal investments and things like that needs to come to the Planning and Zoning Commission for their comment as to its harmony relative to the goals of the Plan of Conservation and Development. So before this can go to town meeting, you as the Planning Commission have to weigh in if you believe that this proposed divestment of town land to the abutters along Econ Hill Road is appropriate relative to the Plan of Conservation and Development. So that is your charge to determine whether or not this proposed divestment, makes sense for the town. Should you find favorably, then the public meeting may proceed. And a simple majority of participants in the town meeting can approve this request. If you find a negative referral, if you find that it is for some reason disharmonious with the plan of conservation and development, that would force a 2/3 supermajority vote at town meeting to approve. So it's essentially a veto by this commission that would require a supermajority to override the veto at town meeting.
So
Does that
I,
make sense?
does to me, I mean, I don't think- but what doesn't make sense is the right at the end, I don't know which direction that is.
North.
No, south. It would
No,
be-
so yeah, I'm putting it on this.
It's
I'll
the
put this on the
south piece of
screen.
it, yes.
So where
the-
Parker is, Dina Parker
Yes,
and Blanchette, you should really give that little triangle that looks like it's going to Parker to Blanchette so that his property comes all the way out to a road and gives him
Well,
frontage.
either that or the town property should become
Part of Blanchette.
part of Blanchette's because we're making that non-conforming that it has road frontage.
But this could,
And the driveway, I believe, goes all the way down there anyways, correct?
where does it come out? Does it come out over Parker's, the driveway?
well, it doesn't really exist anymore. I
The
mean, there's
Blanchette.
really not much to it. But no, Blanchette's property, I don't believe has direct frontage. I can bring up the GIS map in just a second.
I mean, he doesn't have direct frontage, but I just wonder where
Right.
does his driveway go
He did
through?
originally, though. That's the thing.
From here?
On the old road,
Oh,
he
yeah,
had-
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
took away frontage,
Yeah,
we're gonna be giving him back his
Here,
frontage.
running.
So I don't know if this helps or not, but I know that, there's a right of way in his deed that gives him the right of way over that section. And I believe it's pretty much between the two, between the town property and the other property. But he just got an 18-foot right of way, I believe.
It just would make much more sense, since Parker already has frontage.
Yeah.
Give that guy the frontage.
Frontage. So
So
everybody.
that little
has
yellow
road
triangle should go to Blanchette
To
purple.
Blanchette.
So here, let me turn on, I'll turn on the GIS layer.
Unless they have something. I don't know.
Yeah, how is that funny?
All right, so this is rotated 90 degrees, but this is oriented north-south. So there's this, you see this little line right here, that curve, that is old Econ Kill Road. So these folks have, so the driveway basically follows the path of essentially more or less where old Econ Kill Road. And so the Blanchette's driveway is here.
Right, so.
It sort of runs across, it sort of runs up the road. And the town, and the other thing I would note is that the town owns this lot 39, which is a fifth of an acre.
That
That's,
doesn't match this map,
No,
because that's a triangle.
well, this is, yeah, this is, yeah, this is obviously GIS. The Boundaries prepared a more formal survey map. But yeah, so this is just the GIS, gives us approximate.
Right, okay, so that's important though, because if that's already the town's, that's fine. I mean, you're making that guy non-conforming, but if it's not the town's, then it should go to that guy whose driveway is on it.
or even a portion of it, the towns could go to him, enough to give him his own driveway.
So there is, I don't know, Scott, do you have the survey map that was prepared? Not the sort of the colored up map?
Yes, sir, it's on the desk there.
Those are sent out to all of us too.
It's from Boundaries, did a little map. Oh,
Yeah.
So there's an actual survey map out there.
But it doesn't really,
yeah,
cover, you
this-
see, it
this
shows
is it on.
the chunk
Yeah.
off too.
And at
Probably
this-
because of the deeded right of way. But it's still showing it going on Blanchette's.
So this was like. This chop off is here.
Yeah.
And you're going like, I mean, the driveway. On his too then. Not as neat as I was hoping. Kind of like that.
To the best of my knowledge, that chop off does not exist. That chop off is, I think, their representation of what it would look like if the road itself and the right of way was simply, turned over to Blanchett.
No, I mean, the survey
No.
shows two concrete monuments there.
Yeah.
That is the shape of that lot, but as, if we take that down to the corner, I don't know if you're gonna capture, you still have this little bit to worry about. Why does the town, is there a drainage ditch there or something? Like, why does the town own that weird parcel?
It was,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, it was, taken over by the town for, taxes, in the
Oh.
80s. It was just never, nothing ever was done with it.
So,
We should offer it up to the guy behind that.
so what is our 824 actually for? Is it for all of the road or just the stuff through Scott's, because Scott's the only one here?
No, it is for the discontinuation of Old Econk Hill Road. So it does not include that parcel number 74 because that is not part of the road. It is, and so if you refer back to the colored thing,
Technically, part of it is.
so well,
Part-
part of the road, if it was discontinued, would be ceded to number 74. So the town road, the town land, the town parcel would get a little bigger because the
gain
road would
18
go away.
feet. Okay.
Which is 74.
So it would be the,
39.
yeah,
It's number
that would be
39
the
on the map.
basically the dark blue, the dark purple,
Right.
the darker green, you know, all of the things that are given the Z symbol there represents the dissolution of the right of way and the ceding of the land to the abutters. And so it's the question is the road, not the separate parcel.
Well,
Which-
I personally think that if that yellow little triangle should go to Blanchett, and at least that would get him frontage on the road.
That's somebody else's property,
That looks like.
Which
the
is-
Office Road, but
Well, no,
the
but it's
blue
part
is,
of the,
but it's part of their property.
it's part of their.
It's in yellow, part of
Part
his
of-
property.
No, it's not.
No,
No,
part of it,
that's the
It's the
proposed
road.
road. That's where he's proposing we're gonna give them that yellow sliver.
oh,
that's why it's called.
Yes.
It's colored yellow because he wants to give it to the
No.
abutters.
am I correct
I
in
don't
that?
underneath it.
This is
No.
what it's gonna do. It's
No.
gonna give them
The
that,
solid yellow north of
but that's.
that
something-
little triangle is his actual
Keep
property.
that
They
one.
want him. The
Yeah.
other part is old
Econ Hill.
Econ Hill.
And so I
That's
don't
right.
know that this commission is really asked who should be receiving lands would be that would be transferred in an ambiguous way. Or, you know, again, it's the way when you discontinue, it is the abutters to the left, to the right, right? Or to the north to south, however you say it. Would each split the width of the right of way. If you want to provide, you know, some sort of right of access or deed to an abutter that, you know, for purposes of driveway access, that's an entirely separate question.
I disagree, because if we're gonna say that it is consistent with the plan of conservation and development, I'm sure somewhere in the.
It doesn't, because we're
GOP
making it
says Don't
non-conform.
create non-conformities. We have an opportunity here to
make it
make it conforming.
Yeah.
Well,
And I agree.
correcting a nonconformity is, I mean, it's a goal of the zoning regulations,
That's the
but
job.
I don't know that that's how discontinuation works. And that's what's on the table.
Oh, I think-
But by
I think they have some
discontinuing them, we're
flexibility.
making it non-conforming.
No, they're retaining that whatever access they had before.
I know, but
But it
lots
doesn't,
are.
So you are not,
supposed to
you are
come out
not changing that sort of, I agree with you that there is a way to make it better. I'm just not positive that that's within the charge of the 824 referral about a discontinuation of a road.
okay, can we make
I'd like to
a
see that, though.
referral as our 824 review that it should become conforming and that should happen?
We can make that recommendation.
Yeah, you can, sure, you can make a recommendation,
Yeah.
but yeah. And then the subsequent disposition of 74 is
Exactly.
kind of a separate question. And that would be, I think, you know, that would be up to the town to determine if, number one, if they wanted to hang on to number 74. That's one thing. If not, then they would probably have to come back to an 824 And, with their proposed strategy of either offering it, allowing the two abutters that may have an interest in it to make a bid on it, or to offer one as a right of first refusal, but that's sort of up to the selectmen. Once the town and this body decide it's of no, use for the town to continue ownership. That's kind of a separate question.
Well, I think if the goal of this commission is to not create nonconformity, so I think it should at least be suggested that.
It is, but
they let the yellow little tiny triangle where that guy's driveway
Sure.
is on anyway.
Which
which is fine, and Juliet, I might be splitting hairs, but removal of nonconformities is more of a zoning matter, and an 824 is more of a planning matter. So I think it's probably different sections of the statutes that you're conflating.
Right, but a POCD, I know it's in there somewhere. It's gotta
Sure.
be.
And again, I have no problem with that. I just don't know that's part of, like, we find this. I think you can make the recommendation, right? But I'll leave it at that.
So there's a mysterious property thing that goes through the property that you don't.
The district's in that.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's
Basically,
liability for the town.
Oh, when the road got straightened, yeah.
I mean, you could even
You
split.
know how many acres the route have?
Yeah, because
Wait,
it's
three and a
in
half,
the
almost.
yellow, it still
Okay.
doesn't give
Three and a half
that
or somewhere.
access to the main road.
I'm just
You know,
curious.
if they've got 4, then they can
Here.
subdivide if they have road frontage.
Right.
If you look at the,
Which
it's kind of marked in the road where it
That's
is.
why I think
He
it's
doesn't
kind
have,
of
I know,
important to have.
Really,
we don't want to do 3.5.
It'll get about
It would
50 here.
be, important to have road frontage.
Right, if you road frontage to say, isn't it 200 feet from the town?
I think it's 150.
Well, kind of.
I could be wrong on that, but I think it's 150.
But even so,
Yeah, is there 300 feet there? With the town property, there probably is.
it's 157 feet,
That town property is,
that town property. is.
What's our requirement for that?
I think 150, but I could.
Yeah.
What is our, John, what is our requirement for? Is it 150
I think it's different.
For frontage?
for a rural district?
Oh, good
And
question.
a rear lot has a different frontage too.
25 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
right.
mean, they could bust it to a rear lot and a front lot and.
But
Right.
And
I think you need twice the acreage for a rear lot, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on.
No, it's not on there.
Where's my rural? Village district? No, that's not village district. I want rural district. Rural district is 200, no, we don't have a frontage requirement. We have a minimum width of the lot at the setback line, which is 200. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 200 feet. 200 feet frontage.
200 frontage, okay.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't get it anyway, cleared the whole lot.
But
Well,
again,
we make it
it's
more.
it's an existing,
Scott's not
it's
selling his lot.
an existing non-conforming lot.
Well,
Price.
never say never, but
Everything's for sale for the only price.
Well, I would just put in there to make a recommendation that either that yellow triangle bit
And somebody,
actually go to Blanchett because his driveway is on it. Effectively. Or that the town. Debate whether or not they want to give up that blue parcel number
Give up
74.
a plot,
That's a different-
parcel.
That's a different 824.
I know, but it just
but
plant the seed in there so we know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes
it
sense.
gives
Kinda
our
get at.
recommendation of the 824.
Yeah, I think that, if I hear where you're headed, I think a proposed recommendation or motion could be to find the proposed discontinuation of Old Econk Hill Road to be consistent with the plan of conservation and development, and further makes a recommendation that the owner of 72 Econk Hill Road be granted the portion of the right of way that connects the property of 72 to Route 49 across that triangle where the current driveway is located.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a motion just like that.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Did you write that down?
Hopefully, Crystal's recording.
Recorded
and
and
go back
put
to it.
it that way,
Yeah.
Crystal, I can work with you on,
but that's
on
gonna be
restating
turned
that.
in tomorrow.
Does anybody else have any other thoughts, Jim?
Well, unless, I would like. to
Well,
hear
the
more.
motion's been made and seconded,
Go with that discussion.
well,
On what?
motion's been made and seconded to recommend
To
to
give a
the
favorable.
Board of Selectmen that they could do
Discontinue
that,
the
but
road
discontinue the road, but then
with a suggestion.
with the suggestion of those pieces of property being going to Blanchett.
This little triangle go to this guy, this guy.
I appreciate you asking, but I figured I'm not in the circle here.
Oh, no, you're a member
You can. say that.
and you can participate in, oh, absolutely. Just can't vote. Oh, no, open
Well,
for
that's why
discussion.
when you
Everybody,
asked me, you know, to vote, well, I'll approve. I'm not approving, am I?
No,
No, we
no,
just
okay.
wanted to.
No.
Well,
but
yeah,
discussion,
because
100%.
discussion.
I'm on board with the.
No, because you are a full, like, you're a member of the board. So discussion, we want to hear your thoughts and absolutely ideas on everything. Yeah. And that's in case,
only my question.
like Scott's sick, I'm sick. If one of us wasn't here, one of you guys would be a full voting member.
Right.
So
It still counts.
that's why we want you guys to come to the meetings and discuss
That's
and.
why I'm here, but when she asked me
Correct.
that, I thought you were looking for all eye or something.
No, no. Still do discussion.
Anyways, that's why I was looking at Scott, is I wasn't sure if you were just looking at that one proposal. Yes, that's cool, fly with it, but I still want to hear more on these other properties or his input.
Did you have anything you wanted to say? Add or advocate for? Or-
Well, obviously, you know, I'm the one who spent money to get the surveys and get this done. So obviously I have a dog in the fight, so, yeah, it's, I think in everybody's interest to get this, I know it's a nothing burger for, you know, no one's ever used it. It's been there for literally since 1794. So, you know, but, just to, I don't know, maybe it's a type A thing, just would like to get it resolved and get it sorted.
Almost like you better, the yellow came down. Purple came down,
Yes.
and you could even have a little sliver of that too, like bring everybody down to the road.
I'm
Well,
gonna ask
80
a really dumb question. So Old Econk Road was not a state road, correct? Should
It
this be
probably
going to
was
the
not.
state?
No, it was, when the state road came in, the old road, which was considered a municipal road, was given back to the town.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure.
It's our responsibility
Okay.
to continue and or maintain.
Correct.
Yeah, road, and then
That means you can force the town back in your living room from the road goes through that.
No, but you could force it to make it a legit road and then subdivide off the frontage of a road.
That's thinking.
That would be in the
later, but I think bringing them all down.
Yeah, lots of.
Yeah.
Purple.
And, well, just
Yeah.
before you,
the
you
road,
know,
that makes more
number 80 is on the, is on Econ Hill. That's also my property and it abuts the town property and I have interest in just simply removing that line and, making that one piece whole, if at all possible.
The green.
Well, yeah, so I understand what you're saying. We're looking that that should go to Blanchett's, which, so.
Yeah, that little
recommendation-
sliver, that is the, that is right away, that's not even worth contesting, of course. You know, given the road access, that's not.
No, I'm saying the town property that you're talking
It's been
about.
offered to the Roots prior to this, and they turned it down, so I don't know
Okay.
if Blanchett has
Well,
interest in it.
I
but-
think, I think part of that 820, that needs to go out. That should go to bid, because it could go either way, if Blanchett's want it. No, we're talking about
Yeah.
that.
I'm just saying.
But I do,
Parker,
I get it, you would
Nice.
like to own to that corner.
But we all understand that's a complete, this is
Yeah.
two issues.
Yeah.
Two
You
different
know,
things.
we're here for old Econ Hill Road right now, so.
Correct.
But before you make that, at the very least, I still think that little yellow triangle go up to this guy.
Correct.
That's in our recommendation.
A portion
Right.
of Old Econ Hill Road.
Yeah.
in yellow. Right, he's having.
So Scott, have you had, contact, is there a reason that the other buddy neighbors are not here, Schultz and, Neffsek and-
Hey, the nature's campsites, it's not even in their deed anymore.
No.
So it's been,
removed from their deed?
it's just been removed. It's not, it doesn't exist. Schultz doesn't, I don't even think he knows it's there. I don't know if it's part of his deed or not. I know it's part of mine. I know it's part of, 80s and a part of Blanchette's, and I don't know about the other sliver, property. So,
And you have deeded right of ways over it in
Uh,
your deed? Is it that kind of language or
it
it
just
just
shows-
acknowledges it?
it just shows that it acknowledges it's there, and that's about it. And that's part of my concerns. That's why I want to get it sorted. You know, 'cause I don't want it to, something weird to happen when I'm no longer able to fight it.
So that's part of my question, I guess, is the town would have to notify these other property owners if it goes to town vote. This is just for a prior recommendation?
We're pretty much recommending to the selectmen that, yeah, it be voted upon.
It's not detrimental to the town.
Yeah,
Well, there wasn't any requirement for this board to notify them.
No. It's not an application and it's, it doesn't, there's no public hearing, nothing like that. It's just a discussion or review. All right. So you've got that, everybody's got that motion that was.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna vote on it.
No other, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Carried. All right, changes for the Housing Act 8002, favorite topic of discussion, which is causing lots of anxiety and planners in the region. So there's a lot of work that has to be done before July 1st, the first deadline for what I think is the most significant change. So that, is everybody familiar with the bill? Haven't gone to any of the webinars or anything yet? One,
no,
John, do you want to do the spiel? I can do the quick spiel, but.
Sure. So, yeah, no, so the state, I don't think Voluntown has to make that many changes.
Yeah, I know.
But so this new big bill, it was Public Act 25-1, it was passed in November, that basically overhauls the affordable housing plan process that we went through a couple of years ago, and instead replaces that with a housing growth plan, which is a fairly complicated beast that basically will assign each municipality an expectation of new housing units to be developed over a 10-year period. Not as a build it or we will sue you, but when you're writing your plan, this is your target rather than saying, oh, we're just going to try to create more housing. The town will be assigned or will assign itself over the course of the next year and a quarter a number for the plan to shoot at. That's the bulk of the new statute, but it also came with a couple of regulatory changes that we have to make in our zoning, broadly in the realm of encouraging more housing or removing regulatory obstacles to development of housing. There are two categories of changes that need to happen by July 1. And when I say need to happen, that's when this portion of the statute is effective. If every municipality doesn't adopt regulations in accordance with this, the sky doesn't fall. The municipality is just slightly at higher risk to get a development proposal that it's sort of unprepared for or doesn't have regulations in place for. So it behooves us to put these things in place. As I said, there are two areas. The first area is parking. And the state had adopted a sort of a parking cap on multifamily developments a couple of years ago, wherein municipalities were prohibited from requiring more than one parking space per studio or one bedroom apartment, or more than two parking spaces per two or more bedroom apartments. So that was sort of a hard cap that you would have to incorporate into your regulations such that, if you got an apartment development and our regulation said, oh no, 3 spots per unit, the state would have overruled that. Unless we opted out, which we didn't. But now the new rule is basically taking away the opt-out and putting basically a hard cap on apartment developments and the mandatory parking. The other thing I would note is the state is saying for multifamily units under 16 units, so like a 10-unit apartment complex, the municipality cannot require off-street parking, or rather, it cannot deny an application solely on the basis of its failure to provide off-street parking. This is not to say that apartments can't, they should, and they most likely will in rural places where you don't have bus lines, or better. But it limits a commission's ability to place an arbitrary number of off-street parking spaces for an apartment. I say this one first because this one is easy. When we overhauled our zoning regulations, probably 2 years ago now, we eliminated our parking numbers. You'll recall we basically required for any development, including housing, we basically say, tell us how many parking spaces you're going to need and show us where they are. We don't have any minimum. So I think, and Juliet, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we need to change anything relative to. We do?
Yeah, there's a couple places.
Okay. And for
Where they're-
multifamily?
They call them the village district.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is they can't have, there's no discretion.
Right.
These are all by summary review, which is site plan review, which you don't really have, but
Well, that's a second issue.
yeah, but there's, 5.1 is what the village district, I left mine. So
Yep. 5.1.
there was something in there, it's on that sheet that I gave you, but, mentions limit of 4 units of discretion over parking. Neither one of those will work because that is the middle housing number.
Maximum density was.
I mean,
And
our
so-
whole, our
Oh, okay.
multifamily regs don't work at all.
Right. Well, so right. That's
But they
right.
mentioned parking in it. There was two
Right. So
places.
that's really in the second part. I don't think we need to change any of our parking regulations as they stand in section in the site plan section.
9.3 G2. Wait, no, let's see.
9.3
9.3.
Parking requirement G.
I think you have to put some language in there, but I gave you that language for like
Yeah.
that parking 1, 2, and 3. That's me saying this should be what 9.3 says.
Okay. So that's one of the two areas. The other one that Juliet alluded to is in zoning districts that are considered commercial districts or mixed use districts, which in this case, in the case of Voluntown, I would say is the village district and the village commercial overlay. Middle housing, which is defined as 2 through 9 units, has to be allowed by summary review, which we broadly understand as essentially a site plan review. It's not a special permit. You cannot demand a public hearing, and you cannot have any discretionary or conditional elements to it. So basically, more or less as of right with commission review,
Yeah.
2 through 9 units of multifamily housing shall be allowed essentially in our village district.
But
And so that's the other, but we are allowed to put in standards for what that housing ought to look like, how it should sit on the site, that sort of thing. It just can't be discretionary. It has to be sort of black and white objective standards.
and not
and so-
too onerous that it would prevent it from actually happening.
Right. And so that is the main thrust of what the new statute is requiring municipalities to change in their zoning regulations again before July. So
John, so they're saying 2 through 9
You want any commercial zone.
can go to any commercial zone. Does it still have to meet sanitation
of course,
and all that stuff? So I mean, I'm not really worried about
No.
too many places,
Right.
that
In a-
9.
But like that one we just did,
This
would fall under that, so we couldn't, you remember the long discussion we had about
No,
parking?
I understand.
now, that's something that
I mean,
they
the-
couldn't.
The
say
other
anything
flip
about
side
that.
to this too is the state gonna put a bus line in out here? I mean, they're taking away parking spaces. The only way you're getting here is by driving here.
And well, and so that's the
So-
thing, and that's,
So, I mean, it's good for the state to sit there and say, yeah, you gotta abide by X, Y, and Z. Is there a way we can go back to the state and say, yeah, we'll abide by this, but you know, you need to provide public transportation in this area for this growth? I
well,
mean,
No developer in this area is
No,
not,
I know.
not gonna build it.
I know,
Right.
but I mean, it's, you know, the state keeps stepping on our toes and saying they're gonna take away our funding, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. I mean, they're thinking about Hartford, they're not thinking about out here. I mean, can we require the state to give up some spaces for public parking?
if you get a bunch of apartments that provide absolutely no parking at all in Voluntown, and so you've got dozens and dozens of cars that have no place to park, I think we could probably look at some public option. I think that's as far-fetched as it's gonna get.
Oh,
But-
absolutely, absolutely. I don't think anybody's coming out.
So,
But yeah, so Juliet has had some thoughts. I don't know if you circulated those. But I think the idea is, I think we can, again, we've got a couple of months till July. What I would propose, and I think what basically Juliet would propose, is we take these statutory requirements and propose a set of amendments to be reviewed or to be received at our May meeting. So between now and the May meeting, we'll come up with a draft of some proposed amendments, receive and schedule a public hearing for June, and ideally adopt some amendments in June.
do we have anything on mobile homes in the regs? I forgot to look for that.
That they're not.
Yeah, no, we don't
We
allow
did it once.
trailers, but we don't discriminate against the mobile manufactured houses.
Right, do we have any regulation in there? Because we would have to modify that. So now single
think
wides
so.
are allowed. It doesn't have to have 22 feet as its minimum.
Right,
We
as long
can't
as
treat it any
it's,
differently than a single family
Right.
house.
as long as it can't be, you can't live in, you continue to not be able to live in a trailer, which is to say like an RV or literally a mobile thing. But if it's, like a trailer park, a single wide that is permanently anchored to the ground, hooked up to utilities and stuff like that, it's a structure like any other.
But
And
before it was
we've-
22
yeah.
feet wide at its narrowest, that has been reduced back to whatever.
Well,
12.
Well,
And then mixed use development, oh, well, one thing I do want an opinion on, a formal opinion on, because we were having this discussion with the consultants that are helping us in East Hampton. Our the rural zone, whatever,
Oh,
whatever,
that's true.
rural district.
Yep.
There are more non-residential things allowed than residential. And so which is odd, but it is what it is. So the state, our discussion was, would the state consider that a mixed use zone? Because they don't define it though. Well,
No.
don't shake your head. I want a formal opinion on that.
Okay,
I want an opinion on
It's just
that.
a no.
That's too risky though. I mean, if that were to be considered a mixed use, because there are commercial and residential uses allowed, it doesn't say rural residential district, does it? Or does it say just rural?
it says rural district.
Well,
Right, but so if in that rural district, there are more non-residential things allowed than residential, would we not call that remember, the state doesn't define things the same way, so we don't have like necessarily a mixed use commercial.
We do have in section 4(1)(b), we define the rural district. This district is intended to preserve as much of the town as possible in a low density settlement pattern. It is intended to both retain the rural character of the town and to minimize the need for extending public facilities and services throughout the entire town.
And then you allow automotive garages and.
Those are by special permit. I think all the commercial uses are by special permit. So that, to me, that means that it is not sort of a default commercial or even mixed use. Because that's a special permit is a special exception. It doesn't normally belong there.
Well, it's still a permitted use by special permit. I don't know what that argument is at all. I mean,
Well,
many towns just.
But then
they
you
have
also
urban
have
districts with-
But you also have a floating zone that could go anywhere in
Right.
town. And so just because you allow something somewhere by some mechanism doesn't make that a mixed use district.
Floating zone, different thing. Actual uses.
It's not really.
Yeah, but the primary use is residential.
Well, then we should probably make
I know,
that a little clearer.
Well,
think
so I
that's
think,
pretty much
yeah, so
understood.
So I think
Yeah,
Julia,
no, I'm
we
just
could,
saying, if the state has these strange definitions,
Yeah.
and this came up by our consultant,
in the,
that could be interpreted that way. So then I was thinking of here, I'm like, well, if that could be interpreted, like, it would definitely be interpreted that way here.
I think it's, well, yeah, I mean, anyone could claim anything and it'll go to court and we'll see what's happens. But I think if there's doubt, particularly in your mind about this, when we're making edits, we would just want to add the word residential, so rural district.
Yeah. That would
But-
be, we could do that.
Yeah,
Because
But,
your
yeah, so-
village district, that village commercial overlay, and your the major development district. Whatever it's called. But look at that sheet though, because there were a couple places where it was, the language has to be tweaked a little bit and our, we have to add a category. So right now you allow multifamily by special permit.
Right.
Which we can keep, but you have to add in a category for middle housing, 2 to 9 units.
By site plan.
So you can keep 2 categories, so you can entertain, I mean, I don't think Bond House getting anything bigger than that, but you could keep that as special permit. Or
right.
just
We're not,
take it out and have the 2 to
we're not-
9, and cap it at 9.
right. We're not taking anything away necessarily. It's just adding a narrow category and regulating it separately.
And then we'd have to define summer review somehow as tying it to our section on
On site
site
plan.
plan.
Mhm.
But before the May meeting, I wanted to just get a feel for, now that multifamily 2 to 9 would be allowed by right, are there any site development standards we want to make sure we have, or thoughts on the setbacks, or right now, the way your regs are written, they can't even stay the way they are because they're too restrictive to comply with the statute, right? The math doesn't work.
Correct.
And your acreage requirements are all over the place, and that doesn't work.
Yeah,
Um,
it needs to be more uniform.
But like, you can cap the height. You can cap the lot coverage. You can require,
You could require specific landscaping, you could require specific lighting, roof form, fenestration. There's all kinds of stuff you can do.
is that something you're interested in trying to figure out, or?
I think we should address that stuff. I don't think we should address it right now. John, the only 2 things we need to address is our parking, correct?
No, this one comes.
Parking and middle housing, so
And what?
The middle
middle
housing,
housing,
2 to 9
there's
units.
the 2 to 9 units.
By right, so. When we do this, we should adopt those site development standards at the same time. I mean, if you give me an idea of what you want, then we can. Give
I
you
do
ideas
think
what the
they'll
language
be
is.
having people come. I work with 2 nurses right now that are unhoused because they can't find anything under 2,500 anywhere for an apartment.
Yeah,
These are nurses, they're not scumming the earth, they have income and stuff, and they cannot find an apartment. Because I think you're gonna be more and more pushed out with some housing. I may be totally wrong.
no,
but
there's a huge need for housing.
Yeah. there's
But I just, if we're gonna give draft language. Just need. Some input, is there something in particular that jumps out at you that you want? Is it the architecture, what it looks like that you'd be worried about? Is it,
I think it's
Lot
definitely
coverage.
gotta have parking. Even if it says we don't need it.
well, we can't do anything about that. They're gonna give you parking.
Yeah.
There's no way they're not gonna do that. That would be
Well,
so.
I
You can
just
ban it.
see the urgency on that. If more than likely, we're not gonna have anything in the village district. If somebody wants to put a 2 to 9, they're gonna put it on a 10-acre piece somewhere because they gotta get septic system in. We don't have city water, we don't have city sewer. They've gotta get a septic and they gotta get well, so they're gonna need a large piece. I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, you have some large pieces in here. That's why I was bringing up this map to begin with, to see if that was, and if it was. Figure out where some of these parcels were, like I don't know what this one is, but you've got a 14 acre, 8 acre, 12 acre, these are all in that order.
This is split into 3 homes there. I know those aren't going anywhere.
This is there, right? This is the behind the gas station, this is the school or something in there. This one is the little guy, Brown.
Bronson's.
this one,
No, this is all water.
5, 8, I mean, there are some, yeah.
Field, basically, with
Um,
one house way back. That's the one next to the bed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a
Across
big
from-
deal,
across
but
from
we're
Gary.
gonna put them in, it's
Okay.
easy for me to
Yeah.
just throw in those standards, I mean, it's not, that's not hard, it was just. You
Make
told
the
me what
standards before
you
you
want, what kind of
basically-
things you would be worried about, we can just get that language in. I don't know if this is about it. This one. I mean, that's a big piece.
Is that the
I
old
think
dump?
that's all wetlands. so-
Is that the old dump?
Well,
Yeah,
if you look here-
one of those is,
Because you can't build on that.
Yeah.
Ever.
No, you're right, but it's the dump.
yeah,
Sorry.
it is, that's the old.
I used to go there as a kid.
Yeah.
Well, why is this all
Like-
hashed out?
Why would this be in your village that if it can't be built for commercial, get it to,
Because I think this was, the town crew was using this.
Yeah, they were renting it from.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't think anything can ever be built.
that's probably be taken out, and I don't know. But you, I mean, you have some things, so you saw that that guy did put 4 units, right, in that tiny lot, so.
Yeah.
Again, is it, would you be more concerned about architecture, keeping a certain style, or are you more concerned about landscaping? I mean, what would you be? Or do you not care at all, and we're okay with this, the site development standards that you already have?
Yeah, I'm not gonna dictate what people have to build or shape
No.
or color. I'm not
But
doing it.
we do setbacks and building height, so do you
Yeah.
want something different for multifamily?
Should the town garage,
Oh, I know.
yeah, I don't wanna get into that either.
Different heights for
This is not
multifamily?
North Stonington.
You're talking 9 units at the max,
Yeah.
maybe 2 floors, it's reasonable, 2.
We allow, what, 35 feet now?
Yeah.
So we'll keep it at that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
not
covered.
covered, yeah.
Right.
Oh, 9 units, the max could be 9 units.
So the only thing you might have to change is the, where you do have to change, because you've got to somehow allow the math to work to get you to 9, but I mean, you have different acreages throughout the regulations, because like your rear lot is totally different than the front lot, but in the
Well,
same
that's-
zone, they're different minimums for uses, which is very weird. But you have it spelled out exact, specifically for multifamily, you have a different acreage. My question was, whatever that acreage is,
What are all
Would it-
lines mean? Nothing on, built on that?
no, it's a overlay zone.
I don't know, Juliet, I don't know that you would need to necessarily change the acreage, as long as it's, consistent across the entire zone. And- Right, we have 45,000 square feet for a multiple family unit.
Right,
Then we have, under that, there's a density calculation that we'll have to get rid of.
right.
But as long as, so we require 40,000 for a single family, 45 for a multifamily. I don't think that needs to change.
Right, but.
As long as it's, again, as long as it's as of right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not worried about it.
And the language that says you can only have 4.
What they're gonna.
Right. So that's one we'd have to get rid of, right? But
Yeah, and another one, I think that only had 6.
They may dictate what you need, you might have to go.
I pulled that out in that
sewage
one.
or something.
Yeah.
Right, so no other
We
site
wouldn't have
development standards
sewage here.
jumps out, did anybody?
And because we don't, I mean, we don't have,
Sides up there.
Yeah.
we don't really have design.
The septic's gonna dictate, the septic is gonna dictate
Yeah.
how big
Just
of a,
tell
how.
between that and the well, they're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, those are givens,
You
I
would have
mean,
to-
I'm not,
You gotta
I
sometimes
am
go
not
like
concerned.
buy
Somebody's
like.
gonna come.
in a row.
And
Some
somebody
monstrosity
suddenly
on top.
needs to get rid of
It's
their
their property,
property.
I know that, but
Yeah.
if this is your opportunity, since we're putting in these regs.
I
add in
think
anything
we
else you
should
might
talk
want.
about that at a later date, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see a rush to put some language on paper.
Don't they have to be in by July 1st?
I know, we are gonna think about it.
Well,
by July.
It's gonna have to be before July 1st.
We'll come
I
up-
understand the changes that we
Yeah.
have to make. I don't think that we need to write, you know,
I think what you have. will
By
probably
July.
suffice.
yeah, I think what we currently have suffices to meet what we need right now. I think if we make changes, we need to think about it and throw things back and forth. I don't think we need to do a knee-jerk
just
reaction
always
to the state.
Amazed on
Mayhem.
the state of Connecticut, what comes down even for the Board of Ed, what is allowed this year, that isn't allowed next year. You know, even within our building, we get that.
It's 10.8 is the other one that section that has the thing. And then if you don't mention multifamily. So you have 20% lot coverage, 35-foot height. Just the two categories we need. Add the definitions, add what summary review means, if people don't know that. Again, the village commercial overlay, add that category for 2-9. Oh, 5A.4 design standards, reference parking in there too. And so, but the other thing that's left out, a developer can come in, so say they did have a project and they can give you a parking needs assessment.
Mhm.
You know, so if it was a bigger development, then they can provide a parking needs assessment and sort of explain to you why what they're proposing works or doesn't. And then, but the other thing that towns can do is identify conservation, or what is it called, conservation something district.
The Conservation and Traffic Mitigation District.
Right, so no more than 4% of your land, you can designate it as like, that doesn't really apply here.
We're way past 4%.
No, I think you have 1%.
Yeah.
It's in the village, yeah, we'd basically be applying it to basically the village district, which is probably, yeah, a percent or two of the town. But what that would allow you to do is require off-street parking, but only at that lower number. So again,
Right.
1 parking space per studio or 1 bedroom, 2 parking spaces per 2 or 3 bedroom.
So
But it would allow you to do it.
right. So our entire commercial area is less than 4% of the town, right?
Oh, easy, yeah,
Yeah, so effectively, we can
we could do that.
require parking. Because we would designate our village commercial overlay and commercial whatever as the,
So the
Traffic
village district,
mitigation.
we can require parking, just not in the rural district.
I mean, you can do portions of the rural district.
Yeah, you could do
And all
a
the way
small,
up to
so
rural.
for instance, if someone was gonna, well,
Right?
again, it's not, multifamily isn't as of right in like the Beach Pond area. But you could designate like just, the couple of like the ring of properties around Beach Pond as a traffic mitigation district also, just because of the general congestion of the parcels there.
Yeah, so we should look at that map and then I don't, because you get two areas
Yeah,
of 4%, so 8%, right?
that's correct.
They call this stuff around the pond.
So you get
Separate
8%.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So we just have to identify that on that. All right, well.
So, yeah, I think,
The other thing I forgot was the mobile homes. I wasn't looking for it when I read it.
yeah, no, I think we're okay there. So, yeah,
But
so
we have to
what,
allow mobile homes now.
That changed a couple years ago that you couldn't
Yeah.
treat them any differently than a single family house, but now.
it's, right, it's a house is a house is
Well,
a
I
house,
can't
is the message there, yeah.
Not just manufactured, like.
Right, no,
homes.
it'll be a trailer.
It'll be a trailer.
The only thing that's coming, I mean, again, you guys don't have sewer, which is good, but even North Stonington got a second. Have you seen them? They're weird. They're not, they almost look like
I read that.
Tiny homes
I read
are
that in the minutes.
on Route 2.
What?
I could feel their heads exploding.
Oh, yeah.
We had designed such a cute little potential development there then. Anyway, but
What
that's
happened?
what
Right,
They-
Route 2.
they're putting in another mobile home park, which is, in North Stonington, that was no, absolutely not. Because it can count as 830G, which I was questioning. If it's owner, I mean, if it's rental, I could see that. But if they're owner, they still have wheels on it. Couldn't they just drive it off? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me that's allowed in 830G if it's not a rental. You know what I mean? You could just take the deed restricted one and drive it away, then what? now you don't meet the 30%.
Right, well, I mean, you have to file an annual report anyway, so you have to restrict some other unit.
Like, you can't stop them from buying it. Anyway, but that's why that change to me was significant, because now they could be, you know, not looking like the modular, it could be a single one.
Yeah. The braille on that is very nice.
But
Oh,
they are,
yeah.
affordable. All right, and then the last thing is that the discussion of commission priorities, is that having to do with the budget? On the
I'm sorry?
The last thing on the budget discussion of commission priorities, that has to do with that budget thing we filled out, right?
Yeah, you'd submitted sort of a narrative about what we were gonna be working on.
We
I
don't
can,
have that in our packet, but
no, I can bring it up. Hang on.
the
So are we
budget-
voting on a budget? Like we normally do or no?
The budget packet was already forwarded to the finance director. If you wanted to add something to it, we could discuss that, but we made very little changes. I'll bring it up.
That's your budget.
Oh, my budget is just the budget I was shown,
No,
but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So,
kind of alluding to a little bit here.
sorry, I've got it. It's just taking a second coming up.
Because I had one question on the.
Question.
So I can make this, I'll make this bigger. So, along with the budget pack, there were a couple of questions for narrative purposes so that the Board of Finance or the selectmen, whoever's can better understand what's going on. So the questions were, what were your accomplishments in fiscal year 25-26? The commission completed its most recent round of revisions to zoning and subdivision regulations. It reviewed and approved a complicated subdivision on North Shore Road following the receipt of 3 variances. The commission oversaw several grant initiatives in implementation of the plan of conservation and development. The commission elected a new chairman in January. Second question, what changes would you like to see for your commission? We would like to see more collaboration with other boards and commissions to make sure we're all on the same page and at least trying to implement the goals of the plan of conservation and development. What are your goals for the next 5 years? The commission will have to adopt a housing growth plan, like we discussed earlier, and make some changes to zoning regulations to comply with new statutes, which is what we're talking about right now. We'd like to review the zoning district classifications and dimensional standards for each zone to see if adjustments should be made. We will be reviewing the POCD goals to see if we've made progress, and an update will be needed for the year 2030.
Is there anything in the budget for that?
For POCD,
Do you put some every year?
we haven't been. I'm not aware that we've ever set aside, and so this is the proposed budget relative to actual. So our current year budget is here. Let me actually editing, and I'll highlight that in a different color. So our current year budget is in blue, and our proposed budget is in yellow. So salaries, we don't have any salaried line. Legal fees, we had 1,000 for this current year. We haven't spent any at all. We're proposing 500. Legal notices, we had 1,000. We spent over that. I think, I'm not sure if we are getting charged for the ZBA notices also. It's possible that that's a shared legal notice line item. But we're proposing another 1,500.
Shouldn't be, they have their own.
Have their own.
What was that, 4,000?
Yeah, that was my question. Why did we spend 4,000 in 23-24? There was 4,328.
Yeah, that's a
Why was that
good,
so high? I understand that notices have gone up, but what justified a $3,000 increase, basically?
I do not know. I would have to check.
Yeah, because I don't know that we ever saw the bills on that we were that far out of budget, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, they must have a detail sheet.
yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to see some sort of report of what all that was.
Yeah.
Because
Chris-
that seemed a little high.
Right. I would say safely that that's probably an anomaly and, you know, you don't need to focus unduly on that. But, Crystal, if you're able to talk to the other Crystal tomorrow and just pull, any detail on our legal notices from 23, 24.
Yeah, I can do that.
And then my question to you, John,
Yes, sir.
is so the town planner slash zoning officer fee has been split between us and the selectmen. Is that still true?
Correct,
Okay. So it's 50-50 split?
correct.
Okay.
And so that's proposed for, a slight increase for the next year.
And no offense, but you should be in one budget or the other. I just want that on record.
Okay, that's something you
should
can,
be
you
either
can,
in their budget, which you should really just be in our budget as a full line item. And instead of the town, it getting buried, because it got buried in the other budget. It really should be plain as day,
Mhm.
town planner, zoning officer, what that fee is
yeah.
in
Well,
our
that's-
budget, because you're a planner and you're the zoning officer.
I'm also the grant writer and administrator, which is something that I do for the selectmen.
Okay,
The other thing I would note is that, I am not currently and have never taken any additional money to be
no,
your
and
zoning
I'm not,
enforcement officer.
John, I'm not,
No, I just want to make it clear. You used to pay a zoning officer separately. It was,
Correct.
Pete Zvinglis, when he
Correct.
left, I said, I'll cover that for now.
Okay,
And here we are 3 years later.
no, and I appreciate it, and you're doing a wonderful job. But I think it
But that's
should
fine.
be-
That's something you
I
can take
think
up
it
with
should be on the up and up.
something with the Board of
Can I
Selectmen, sure.
interject on that?
Well, it's more for like the public, so they
Yeah.
can read a budget and know where the money goes.
Yeah.
That's all.
But,
Yeah.
you know, prior screen that I had up there was about commissions talking amongst each other. And that's a perfect thing for this, you know, chair to talk to, other chair and, town officials, not put him in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So that communication should be made from this board to other boards, because I agree
Yeah,
a
you're
hundred
right.
percent.
Yeah.
And make
That
the
that
pinch
number
to
needs
them.
to be shown one figure, what are we paying the guy?
Right.
To do what, and not have him in the middle of it.
Right, because it could say grant administrator under their budget.
Right.
Yeah, correct, correct.
It's a great way to hide in budget.
That happens
Everywhere.
all the time.
Yeah.
So basically, we're going up $2,000.
Yes,
What was the other one, the legal?
Legals that, no,
Oh,
it was a
legal
legal
fees I was
notices.
asking
So-
about though.
And-
Why did
and
we
then-
go up 500 on that if we're not, if we haven't even used any this year?
right.
This is for every public hearing for.
No.
No, legal fees.
You're going down 500.
We're
Oh,
going
did you
down.
change that?
Yeah, it went from 1,000 to 500.
It went up
No,
800.
something.
Okay.
We went up 500, so it went up 500 on legal notices.
Just from all the, we did all our changes
So-
and had all the meetings.
So John, let me ask that question. If we're at 900 on legal notices right now, and I look back, other than the crazy year, we're usually about $1,000 or less.
I think you're at 1,500 right now.
And why are we, no, we're,
Right.
oh, that's. our
Legal,
actual-
legal
Expensive.
legal notices versus legal fees.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, legal notices, the problem with, obviously with legal notices is that we are entirely at the mercy of the Norwich Bulletin and whatever they want to charge us.
Where did, let me ask, we making all these other crazy zone changes, where does that lie with the state, with us being able to put it on the town website?
You got
And-
it.
So there's,
That
there-
being,
there's a bill in front of the legislature this year. And I think we actually have the best shot we've had in the last decade,
okay,
to get municipalities authorized to publish only on their websites if they want. I have high hopes that it'll pass this year. I mean, we have fought this battle again over a decade, against the newspaper lobby. But yeah, it's under consideration at the legislature
it's
again.
still on,
I don't know, Juliet, is there anything else you want to cover with this?
No, you've already given it to them?
Yeah, after talking this through with you, because we needed to get something in. So we submitted our version.
Do
If
we
there's
wanna-
On record, I think we should
We
either
wanna have a
approve or
vote right
yeah,
now?
I think we should.
I mean, I know it's after the fact, but should we just do that?
Yeah, just if you want to, if you have a motion to endorse.
Oh, I had no. See? Well,
Jim,
No, but I-
budget 25-26.
Well, let's just,
But we're
I'll just
going
entertain a
to-
motion to
Endorse
accept this, the proposed budget that's been
for,
presented.
for 26-27.
26, 27, we're going into.
You second it?
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, everybody, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I don't understand one thing. How do you have a 25-26, 26-27?
Well, that showed, yeah, well, that's the current year.
We're in
26.
26.
Right, so the 25-26.
July is 26, 27.
Didn't
Yeah,
say
are the-
July,
this-
so.
Right, the municipal,
July,
Fiscal year.
from 26, 27.
municipal fiscal years run from July 1st to June 30th.
All right, so,
School, municipality, and government, let's go.
no. Okay. Correspondence, the only thing I got was that CPA, so that CCAPA 2026 Hot Topics Conference. Except that's Memorial Day weekend,
No, it's,
22nd, May 22nd, isn't that Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah.
Starting in
it's
Memorial
this
Day.
year.
it's the Friday before Memorial Day.
That's really sucks.
Well, so don't go.
I want to go.
Well,
I can't go. I like that.
it'll get you out of work the last day before Memorial Day.
I'll be at a music festival already. Anyway, there's the update on the land use law, which is, would be actually kind of interesting.
And for folks who did not participate, and I think everyone got an email about my firm and Halloran and Sage, basically your planning firm and your law firm, put on a webinar, a training webinar for commissioners about this new public act and some of the implications. That has been recorded and shared. So if you want to go to my personal website, which is tykeplans.com, and go to the resources tab, the whole presentation, the PowerPoint, the recording, all the information about this public act is there. So if you missed that a couple of weeks ago and you're interested in viewing this, and as well as fulfilling some of your land use training requirement, that's available at any
Would
time.
that count for their 1 hour housing? So that
It would.
two folks, Jim and Kathy,
Yeah.
you should go do that.
What's the website?
We have to wait.
It's
Tyke planning.
Tyke-
Well,
Tyke Plant, yeah, we can share that.
Send it to you both.
She'll send you a
Okay,
link.
have it.
Actually, why don't you just send it to everybody?
But this one would count too, the.
Yeah.
The CCAPA one would count too,
Sure.
I imagine.
Yeah, but I'll send it to everybody too.
you should-
Yeah.
It's on land use law,
When is that?
On my back. I'm-
Friday before
I'm sitting-
Memorial.
I know, I'm
Probably
You
won't
want
matter.
to get it from bed usually, late.
all night, I'm not that.
All right, any other correspondence? Staff report?
Well, a lot of the work we've been doing the last couple of months has been in getting the Forge Hill Road Bridge project ready to go. Tree clearing has started this week, and construction on the installation of a temporary bridge will begin in a couple of weeks, and following that, the demolition of the existing Forge Hill Road Bridge will take place. So there's going to be a lot of work out there this summer. We had some significant challenges with some of the abutters to that bridge who did not take kindly to the state kind of moving in and demanding an easement across their land for the temporary bridge. And they actually went ahead and removed some of the vegetation stakeout that were placed by the contractors to interfere with the work. So we've been dealing with that for the last couple of days. I think we've got that settled. So keep aware if you guys are going to be going down Forge Hill Road, be aware that this is going to be a construction zone for a while. We're moving forward on the renovation of Congdon Road under the STEEP grant. We determined after a lot of back and forth that it's actually not particularly complicated in terms of engineering. So I think we can get away without doing full survey and engineering designs for the road and instead contract directly with what's called a vendor in place. So every year the state, has a list of basically construction contractors for paving. I believe we're waiting for final answers on that, but I believe we can just basically contract directly without having to go out to bid because these vendors have already been vetted and selected by the state. So that will save us a great deal of time, and we'd be able to get to move forward on the renovation of Congdon Road maybe later this summer or early fall. So hoping for good stuff there. We are moving forward slowly with the water system study. They're finalizing conceptual designs for the village area for a community water system, and we'll probably do sort of a public information session on that first half of June, most likely, after sort of the budget season is quieted down and they finalize some of the conceptual plans. We still have to do some well testing out on Beach Pond, and we are contracting with some well drillers there. It was a whole hassle about getting the right parcel and the right well driller. So that the Beach Pond study is lagging a little bit behind. So we'll probably have a community information session about that later in July or August. As far as we submitted a couple of grants to congressionally directed spending, which used to be called earmarks. We submitted a big grant, $3 million for renovation of the fire station, as well as I think $1.5 million or so to continue with making improvements to the recreation complex behind all of you there on Gate Street. So we put in 2 congressional funding requests. We'll see what happens with that. Lastly, in terms of zoning, it's been relatively quiet, although except the last couple of days, a couple of people have been coming forward with some concerns. We issued just today a notice of violation to 60 Congdon Road, where there is an unpermitted trailer RV that is hooked up to power and people seem to be living in, and that is not something that's allowed by our zoning regulations. So they were issued a notice of violation today, or it's going out today, I should say. They weren't in receipt of it, but it's but otherwise it's been relatively quiet. Just small permitting, a couple of single family residences, a couple of additions, an accessory apartment, but not that much. So that's what I've got.
And one other question, going back to the housing plan, we are allowed to choose either mixed use or multifamily in the commercial zones. We don't have to do both, correct?
Well, there's some debate about this, and if you want, we can get the opinion of our attorney. And with the funny thing is, we use Halloran and Sage. It actually depends on who you ask at Halloran and Sage, because I think they disagree. I think the way that I read the statutes is that we need to the or refers to the zoning district, so a commercial zone or a mixed use zone, and what is allowed there is transit oriented middle housing. So that transit oriented middle housing can go in a commercial zone or in a mixed use zone. It's not, I don't think we get to choose that way.
Even to try to preserve the commercial district by, ensuring you have some commercial use.
Right. So I think and this is where I'm, the answer to all this stuff is we don't know. Someone's going to have to sue somebody and then we'll find out in court. But my own take on this is, I think, because again, we can create the standards for summary review in each of these districts. I think we would be much more in our within our rights to, if someone is converting an existing commercial building with some retail component or some street facing thing into a middle housing, I think we probably would be able to be within our rights in the summary review regulations to restrict residential from going on ground level street facing, essentially to force it to the back and to the upper levels. If someone is building something brand new, I think it would be a little bit harder to say, no, you can't build that multifamily unless you add some commercial or retail. I think that's a little bit of a harder lift, but the answer is we don't know, Juliet.
Yeah, there is disagreement there then. 'Cause, yeah. A lot of people say, hey, we don't want our commercial districts to be entirely housing. Yeah, no. Okay.
So.
Anything else?
That's what I have for a report. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Question? Want to make a motion? Adjourn? Nobody wants to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at order of. Right.
All right.
Okay.
You guys wanted it at 7:30.
No, I know, but I didn't